following program contains disturbing materials that may not be suitable for some resellers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. And I have a special guest today. Being that Jen is out, she's going to be with us on Monday. So I thought, you know what? Why not bring on one of the top eBay resellers? And he's somewhat controversial, but I do feel like, you know what, he would be an excellent guest to have on the show. And so we decided to bring him on and welcome to the stage, James Helferstay. Nice to see you, buddy.
What's going on?
So, you know, I got to say, we got off to a kind of a sluggish start when I was introduced to you. And I'm glad we kind of worked things out off the camera. And I'm glad that you're able to kind of be here with us today. And you have a wealth of experience that I think that a lot of resellers could actually learn from. Now, maybe not entirely emulate your business model, but certainly can emulate a little bit of what you have going on. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Nope.
Yeah. The only thing he's selling the things behind him. That's all he has.
Yeah. I just stand here all day. I do nothing else. It's just the volume game is what I play. The volume game for 23 years, basically. Selling the common stuff that most people won't pick up because it was easy and quick. And St. Louis is a very competitive market when it comes to, like, if you're not out there every day just picking up a few pieces, I just learned a long time ago just to buy by bulk and just do whatever. So just go with the flow.
So tell us a little about your eBay business. You have, I believe you have multiple stores. I think you only have a couple hundred items in your store. Is that right?
Yeah, just a couple hundred. Yeah, I've been working the one for 23 years, and just with all the issues lately, I opened the second store, I guess, about 8 months ago now. So then I moved my clothing and shoes and hats over to that one. So that's mostly clothing stuff. And the old one's mostly media. But right now I've got 78,603 items in, not counting what I listed today. And then I've got hundreds of thousands, probably about 1 million pieces in storage from just buying by bulk for the last 23 years. And yeah, just living the dream.
And so you don't just rely on what you have in storage. You're out and about sourcing, and so what's your routine look like when it comes to buying new stuff for your store?
Actually, this year I went out twice this year, so that's all I've had to do. I just go when I feel like it, if I want to, just to get out of the house, do something different. I'll definitely hit yard sales this summer because I always do pretty well at yard sales around here. So like last year I bought like 2,000 pieces of vinyl for $200. So
wow.
Again, by bulk. And
right.
Yeah, usually pretty lucky when I'm falling into stuff around here. So yeah, and then every once in a while, Jan, if she's bored with what she's doing, she'll go over to like the Goodwill outlet and stay over there for like 3 hours just scooping up stuff. So it's more just to do something different now. So we don't need to do that since we've got so much in storage from all these years.
So there's no real pressure to buy stuff. I know a lot of people, they might be running low on inventory and they kind of feel like they have to get more inventory, and they make questionable buys. So I guess that sort of makes things a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, I mean, in storage, like I said, I got probably about 1 million pieces, and even if you average that at $10 a pop, it's $10 million worth of inventory. But when I bought the stuff, it wasn't hot. So like now, most of the stuff's gone up in value, from CDs to cassettes. CDs are huge this year, and growing still. There's a lot of articles out there on CDs. So I've got hundreds of thousands of CDs in storage from buying out music stores. We would buy out a lot of them that closed in the early 2000s when they were all closing up. And what else was there? I had something else I was going to say. I totally forgot it. Oh, video game stuff. Like we would buy out video game stores, and like just some of like the Sega Saturn controllers. back in when I bought them in 05, 04, they weren't really worth anything. And I already put up 4 or 5 of them, got $40 a piece out of them. So everything in storage, you know, is not everything, but most stuff in storage has gone up over the years since I put it in. So that was all kind of part of the plan. My wife, Jan, who's right here beside me, she didn't really,
Hey.
she didn't really see the vision that I had, because she don't think like that. But I've always been a junkie since, you know, 10 years old, you know, getting in dumpsters with my mom to find stuff to take to auction. So I saw the buying the right stuff would eventually go up in value. And thankfully I had that foresight, is that the right word, to see that that would probably happen with the majority of the stuff. Like I keep saying this on some of my videos and I haven't come across them yet. I probably got Pokemon cards in there and I probably won't get to them until they're no longer popular and hot. So
just finding them, right? It's hard to find.
That's the problem.
Yeah. You only made 1 error.
So what, and I think, you know, just following your story, I mean, I don't believe that you grew up in the best circumstances, and I can tell you I didn't. Times were pretty tough, so I can totally get where you're coming from with your story on that. Do you feel like that has helped you in some way become a better reseller because of, you know, all that you've gone through in life?
I think at least drive wise, 100%. I would say, yeah, with other stuff too, because drive wise, I don't want to ever go back. You know, my only goal growing up was to get the hell out of the neighborhood. I wasn't one of them people who followed what everybody else was doing, selling drugs, breaking into houses and cars or whatever, warehouses. I just created my own little world, my own little bubble, and just tried to figure out how to get out. And at that time, you know, this is, you know, 80s and 90s. And when you're living in the inner city before the internet, you don't know what's out there. You only know what you see on TV or hear on songs. And if your friend gets a car and you guys drive a little bit, oh, what's out here? This is the county. What's going on here? So the drive to get out was very high, but also working. I worked in a music store, which ain't a very high paying job. I worked at Kmart in the shoe department. So I never had like high paying jobs. So I'd always go to thrift stores. And that's how I amassed like a video game collection, toy collection. I'd buy clearance stuff at like Spencer's Gifts, if you remember them. I'd go in there once a week and buy like 99-cent items, South Park and Kiss and all that kind of stuff. So I always did that kind of thing. So when we started the business, I had a huge, and then working in a music store, I had tons of free music. So I had over 10,000 CDs, 3, 4, 5,000 pieces of vinyl, thousands of cassettes. Plus I had a huge video game room from all the years of just thrifting and buying cheap because I had to, and used that, sacrificed all that to start the business up. But so yeah, I guess in all around, it was kind of the upbringing helped do this. So
yeah, I mean, in my case, I can say it helped me appreciate the value of money. You know, it's something I've never taken for granted, and it's you know, you tend to hold on to money or be more frugal about things because of, you know, just money wasn't really abundant when I was growing up. I got $2, you know, my parents, you know, to go and buy something, you know, it was like I hit the lottery.
I think my biggest thing I think I took from it was to enjoy the small things. Like I still get a kick out of finding just a little cheap $1 thing, as opposed to going out and buying, you know, a Coach bag or, you know, even though I got a Coach fanny pack, but like a little cheap thing that has a little meaning to it because of where I found it, maybe on vacation, it has more meaning than say a Coach handbag, you know, to me. So it's just appreciating the little things is probably the biggest reward I got out of.
Yeah. And you know, it's one of those things that I think there's people who will never be able to appreciate that because of maybe they grew up on the other side of the city, you know, the nicer side. But want everyone out there, if you have any questions, because James is a wealth of knowledge. He has a lot of experience. I mean, this is what he does like every day. So if you guys have any questions, let's let us have it in the chat, and I will try to get to each and every one. What we normally do is we try to get to all the comments, but that's just not going to be possible today. But I will try to, acknowledge the fact that, we have Keith's been here first, got here like right when we started the live, which is quite awesome. Charles says my two favorite YouTuber eBayers. Well, that's nice of you there, Charles. Nice.
Thank you.
To say that. It's awesome.
You can see your hand. You can see.
Oh, sorry. I was just noticing the guy who commented on the pallet that we got for our clothes. So
yeah.
Unique.
Yeah, is that your photo area behind you?
Yeah.
What's the pallet part though?
That's for the clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you put the clothing on there, and then the other one you put your smalls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also I bought the white desk, so I do a lot of smalls here too beside me.
Okay. So I guess the question that I have a lot of them, but one is, I think you did a video on this, but if you can kind of tell the folks, how many items you list in a day on average, and how do you go about doing that? You're just a one-person operation. I'm sure Jan helps you out with some things, but for the most part, I believe that you just get in there and you're just working it. So what is how do you accomplish that?
Well, yeah, Jan does a little thrifting, like I said, that's her thing. And then I have my son who does some of the shipping for me. But for the listing, I just created a bunch of systems over the years to figure out the quickest and fastest way to do things. Learn that if you do the same thing over and over again, it's a lot quicker. So if you break everything down into steps, and just so you can do the same thing times 100, same thing times 200, it's a lot quicker than going step 1, step 2, step 3, step 1, step 2, step 3. It's just a lot more, a lot quicker. I could do 200 easily in a day. I've been averaging, I probably have been averaging about 120 this month, just because summer's coming up. I want to make sure I get outside more and exercise more, so I'm not pushing myself like crazy or anything, but still trying to meet a certain goal and to get 100,000 items in my store by the end of the year. But yeah, just creating the systems and learning how to do that. I do have a video on how to create 200 items in a day. It's probably my biggest reselling video on my channel. If they go to my channel and click highest first, I think it's like the second or third highest video on my channel. And I go through all the steps there on how to do it and how to break it down, and and I'm always changing things up. I think the thing for me is I can't do the same thing over and over and over again because it gets old and stale. Right. So I've learned how to create the systems where I can change them up. So I could do a bunch of pictures if I want. If I only feel like doing pictures one day, I could sit here and do 500 pictures. If I feel like just doing details and I don't feel like pictures today, I could sit here and knock out 500 drafts with just everything but the pictures, and then go back and do the pictures on another day. So yeah, because that's my hardest thing, is staying focused and not getting burnt out doing the same thing over and over again. So creating those systems that change it up when, I think the best thing to know is yourself when you're running your own business, because if you can figure out how to work through your flaws and what slows you down, you're a lot better off. And one of mine is just, I get distracted very easily, so I have to change it up consistently.
Time for Adderall.
So you get a lot of drafts. You get the draft set, and then you just launch so many a day. Is that what you do? So you're building drafts and then you're launching?
I build drafts, yeah, and then like I launch as soon as they're completely done. I launch them. Like I don't save completed drafts and launch them. Once they're done, I get them out there and get them listed, because that buyer could be looking for it today and not tomorrow. So that's the way I kind of look at that. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people think that you have to list every day on eBay for the algorithm purposes, which is not true. It's more for that buyer might be there today and not tomorrow. So it will help you out in that form, in that way. But
so you definitely don't have to list every day. I myself, because I don't list nearly as many items as you do in a day. That's for sure. I'm a firm believer in activity, and I just have seen where you just leave a store alone for a couple days and don't do anything at all, and eBay gives you the same kind of cold shoulder. It seems like.
Well,
So
that's a good thing about volume with me. I could go a week and not do anything and still have pretty much the same amount of sales. So that's the good thing about just having so much stuff up there, is there's always somebody looking for something. So it seems like I always have consistent sales, even if I don't do anything. But definitely the more you interact and the more you do, definitely end and sell similar type of things, you're going to get a bigger reaction, with eBay and the algorithm and stuff, for sure.
So tell me more about how you handle slower moving items. I mean, how do you even manage or even know with all of that inventory that's listed? Do you go through that, or you just kind of let something run its course?
I've got stuff in my store that's been in there 9 years. So I just my whole business model is, it doesn't matter when it sells. I'm not listing for today. I'm listing for tomorrow. I'm listing for next week. I'm listing for next month. I'm listing for next year. With that mindset and that slow moving stuff, I can take a week off and do nothing and still make the same amount of sales because of that mindset. But then you get the things that will flip in 24 hours, which I just call them bonuses. Most people call them, their business plan, their way of doing business. For me, that's just the bonuses. So yeah, for me, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to list it. I don't care if there's a million of them up there. I'm going to list it, and I'm going to promote it. I'm going to run sales on it, and I'm going to try to sell it before somebody else does. So.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring that up is I had last year I listed about 20 older golf clubs, and this year I kind of went back and looked at them, and all but like 3 are listed, and I didn't sell the other like 15 that I have out there. So do you wonder how many items that eBay has just taken out of your store and you don't even know?
Oh, it's a lot, because I haven't done it in probably about 4 months. But now that I've got a new system set up, I can start doing it again. But I'll bring a box up to my office here, and I'm going to top it off and fill it. But before I do, I pull up the SKU on my eBay and go through it and pull anything out that is not listed anymore, and then put it back into the rotation to get it back listed again. But I have at least minimum 5 per box, 5 per drawer of items. That's how many items I actually have that were listed that didn't sell, that are still in my basement. It's definitely more than the 76 or 78,000. How many that is, I don't know. So,
I mean, would we say maybe 10%, 5%?
Probably double.
Probably more.
Double. Everything's full.
Well, I would say 5 per. Probably about 20%, depending. Because I can get about 60 items in a box. 60 to 100 items in the box. There's a minimum of 5, so 5 would be 50, would be 10. So I would say at least 20%.
And you easily have more than 1 box per day. So even if you covered 1 box every day, you still aren't going through all your inventory every year.
Oh, no. Just like cassette drawers alone, I have A, B, C, D, E, F. They all go up to 100. So that's 600 drawers right there. And then I have tub boxes, T boxes, S boxes, H boxes. Those all go over 100. So there's another 500-600 right there. So we're over 1,200 boxes and drawers right there alone. So yeah.
Now, would you find that there might be a positive impact to your business if you went and hired somebody, or has that never crossed your mind?
We've had employees before, and when I was doing Amazon, I used to do Amazon also, and it's no fun, because then I got into doing it myself, so I don't have to answer to nobody. When you have employees, you have to answer. You got to be there. You got to make sure you're letting them in at a certain time. It's too much. I don't want that responsibility, especially now at this part. of life. I'm just enjoying it and enjoying it myself. But yeah, with
We
the amount of
found
product that I have in storage, I could easily hire people and it would just probably tenfold it, but
it's not worth
it's
what you
not
have
worth
to
my
pay.
happiness.
Right. I mean, it would kind of change the dynamic of the business that you have right now, and it
Yeah,
might take away some of the joy that you know have in doing the work.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a different. I can tell you from my standpoint in actually running a department, and even though you have subordinates that are working for you, you try to give them all the assistance they need to do their job. There's always an element of them kind of questioning your decisions.
Oh yeah.
And I don't, that's kind of a thing that's kind of always held me back. And even considering hiring somebody, I've got a storage unit full of stuff, nowhere near what you have, but I can certainly understand, because I'm sure some people are like, why don't you get some help?
Yeah. Yeah, when we had people, they were all basically friends. I don't speak to any of them anymore
They-
who were a part of it. They would, the
Steal.
one friend would come in smelling like cigarettes, and we're in a small confinement. I'm like, you can't do that. Nobody else here smokes. You're grossing us all out. And they got mad about it. Then another one would get mad about it, and I don't need to deal with those dynamics. So another friend of a longtime friend would steal things from me. So I'm
Mhm.
just like, you know what?
We
I don't
came
need the headache
home,
anymore. So
we came home and they weren't working. They were just yakking.
yeah, they were,
We went
just
to lunch just
everything
quick.
that comes with, and especially friends. Friends always think they can, take advantage of you. So
And that's the thing. You're never going to find someone who is going to put in the level of work ethic than you.
yeah,
I don't care how good of a friend they are or how good of a work ethic they have. If they're getting paid by the listing or they're getting paid by the hour, yeah, they're going to be motivated to some extent, but not anywhere near the motivation you have. Because if you don't make sales, if your business goes south, you're the one that's going to eventually, be affected by it.
yeah. And the girl I had for my right hand, she would, I'd give her bonuses at the end of the year if we were at a certain point and stuff like that. But
Those are-
even the friends I grew up with, who came from the same area I did, they they still to this day do not have the drive. They live off the government. So
I mean, well, let's see. I have Keith Pitko says, see, we have James as a guest. This be awesome. Love how James does his videos and makes fun about what trolls say in his comments. So legendary. So talk about the trolls. You still get a lot of trolls?
not really too much anymore. I had the one guy who made about 30 plus accounts who was always coming on, and I'd always block him and he'd come back with another account. YouTube finally banned him, so he don't come around no more. He may be in here if if he sees that I'm here on your channel, but yeah, not really too much. I have the way I'm kind of looking at it nowadays. It's like I don't need the negativity. So if somebody comes in, even if they're just, I don't know, I had one the other day, and I just hit block. I'm done with it. If you're not going to put anything in the comments that's going to help me or somebody reading it, then you know what, you're pointless, you're worthless. Block, go away. So yeah, I don't get too many anymore, so that's good.
I think it's sometimes funny. I get it a lot too, where people, it's almost like they know every bit of your operation, like they're there, but they don't, right? They just assume things about it. And then they want to give you like this advice that you should be changing all of this stuff when what you have going on works, right? And
Yeah,
it's no, that won't work.
and it's funny. Like nowadays, I feel more justified because I've been saying eBay's been broken for 3 years now, and everybody would come in and keep saying it's your items, it's your items, it's your items. So for the past like probably 6-7 months, I felt justified knowing that it's more widespread and everybody can see the problems now. And then my sale days are back up to 800, 900, 1,000, where I was saying they should be. So I feel a lot justified now. So that's killed a lot of the haters too.
So have you noticed any type of a slowdown? I mean, you got a ton of items, so I mean, I guess you would be a good barometer to see if sales are slowing down. But have you seen a huge slowdown in 2025 with sales?
No, I'm actually up right now. There was like last month was really bad on eBay, but I had a lot of site issues. Like when my sale days are low, I am getting the errors because I list so much, and I'm usually on doing something, interacting with the website somehow, 10 hours a day. So I usually see problems before anybody else does. So my low days, I always see that there's server failures or server errors will come through. Like today, I haven't had these cha-chings are the first sales I've had in about 5 hours today. So something, but the eBay's
Well, you hit the like button. That's why you hit the like button of this channel. You got your sale.
You're right. But the problems today with eBay is a lot of the internal search bars were missing in the seller hub, and it is a known issue now. So I had posted it on the message board earlier. Apparently, a lot of people were complaining about, so it is a problem. So they could have been just working on that and see everything. That's what I feel like, where people can see what I see now. Like I will say, well, I didn't get sales for the last 5 hours because eBay had this problem, and chances are they were working on it, changing things up, and that's what caused it. With these chings, my sales will probably pop back up today, and I'll end up getting back up to $700 or $800 by the end of the day if it's fixed. So,
what other glitches? I mean, I guess you encounter them every day, but what other glitches do you come across? Now, I only like to bring up glitches on the channel because I kind of compare it to if you're driving and you know that a pothole is there, you're going to do what you can to avoid it. But if you don't know it's there, you're going to get tripped up. It's going to cause you maybe problems, some frustration. And if you already know, look, I'm expecting that the search bar is not going to be there, so I'm going to work around it and get my stuff done. So what are some major glitches out there that you've encountered that people should know about?
Some of the glitches, and then I'll talk about the one problem that irks me the most. But the glitches are like just that you'll get the server failures, the system errors, where you're trying to list and it'll just error out on you and say can't do this request at this time, and then sometimes even lose some of your listings. So some of those days when I'm having a lot of problems, I won't even end and sell similar because I know I'll probably end up losing some of my listings if that happens. So those are probably the biggest ones, the ones I can think of off the top of my head that I can think of right now. But I usually write them down and have a list and talk about them in videos. But I'm not very good with thinking on the fly too well. But the one that the glitches that irk me the most is the ones with search, because they're affecting our buyers. So when you type in like a shirt, like a blue Tommy Hilfiger shirt, it's going to bring up every shirt that's blue instead of just Tommy's. And so the search thing just feels like it has not, if they're using AI for search, it don't feel like for the last year it's learned anything. Some days it feels like it goes backwards. Some days it'll be fixed. It'll seem like, okay, I'm getting better results when I type something in, because like I said, I'll comp 100 items a day or plus. So when I'm going in there comping, like today I went in and typed in an item and it had 213 items. I went to lowest and it said 0. So there's another search issue. So anybody trying to search by lowest price probably were having issues today. And then the one chings looked like it was a quantity search. So hopefully that's fixed. But yeah.
No checkout.
They have the checkouts.
No
The offer issues have been a problem for, I've been saying 6 months, but it's probably a little over a year, where I will have customers who say, I can't send this offer. It won't let me. Can you send it? And now as a buyer or as a seller, we can't even send offers through the messages anymore, because the last time they changed them, they didn't put that option in there. Where the old way, I could send, if somebody said, hey, I'm trying to send you an offer on this, but it won't let me, can you send me one? I could send them one. Well, now that option's not there. It's not in the whole process yet. So offers have been a huge issue, because just the number of people who've emailed me saying that they can't do that over the time. So how many sales I lost because of that is up in the air. And
or can't
that's
even
probably,
check out.
Yeah, can't check out. To check out, I haven't got somebody complaining about the checkout in a while. But even today, I got somebody who said my buy to get to coupon won't work in checkout. So that could have who knows? It's just all these little glitches just consistently. And if it just happens one day, well, I think, maybe it's the buyer, or the seller, they're doing something wrong. They don't have a credit card, blah, blah, blah. But when it's somebody who's a buyer who's got, 5,000 feedback, they know what they're doing. So you take it a little bit more seriously. And then when you get more than one in a day, you're like, well, there's something to this. So
Other people on the
Yeah.
table for the
A lot of viewers, they look at us fun. Like for me, I'll do that. I'll say this is happening too much. Like for instance, I got a lot of flack, and I still believe it. Whatever, people can yell at me in the comments if they want. But when I leave, and I don't have a huge store. I only have one store is a little over 440. The other one's 240 items. When I leave, my sales just drop when I leave my general area, when I go on somewhere for 3 or 4 days. I don't know. Do you ever notice anything like that when you go on vacation?
I can't say I have, because I normally, like, when I go, I know that Adrian's going to be responsible for all the shipping. So I might turn off my sales, turn off the promoted. So I'm expecting to get less sales while I'm gone, just so he's not overwhelmed. So I really can't, I'm not the person to be able to, I don't have the proper
But you
information
emails.
to
You took
make that.
offers on vacation.
But yeah. So.
Well, also was going to ask you, and I've noticed this, and I assume you list in the app. Do you list in the app or no?
Yeah, I have been. I just recently changed up my situation now, but I usually just take pictures with the app before, where now I even just switched over to a camera laying behind me on the white desk. But so I was just taking pictures, but I do everything else on desktop, and now I'm going to be doing everything on desktop. So
one glitch, I call it a glitch because it seems to be part of the new process on the app. They changed the photos, so it's not the same. And I am noticing a lot slower load times on the app when you're, and I don't take photos directly through the app. I'm importing the photos that I take on my phone. So once I add the photos are ready, I just go into the app and I'm trying to drop them in. And it seems to take like 10 seconds to get all the photos actually just in. And then once you're in and you're trying to go through and edit the photos to crop them, you get the cropping and then you hit done, and it's like it didn't do it. So you have to do it. It's on every photo I've come across. You have to do it twice. And it's a good idea to crop your photos. It's if you're taking them from maybe an angle where you're trying to get the glare out or whatever, and then you need to go back in and crop them.
Yeah, I don't crop them, so I don't know about that one. But ever since they changed it, it actually works quicker for me than before. But I take pictures. I don't take them and add them to the phone. I just take them straight on, and it instantly puts them there. And since the last change they did before this past change a few years ago, they actually added a step to it. And I was always complaining about it. Why does it take me 3 steps, 3 punches to take these pictures? It should just be like 1, 2, or they took one, they added one. And being a person of volume, if you add 1 step or 1 second to my thing, that's going to upset me because I'm timesing that by 100, by 1,000. So they actually took that step back away, and it was a lot quicker for me to go ahead and take pictures, boom, 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 and they were instantly there. So I have not seen that, but then again, also I don't edit my pictures either. So
let's see. We have Mike Camparelli with us from Mike Mecco Meetups. Says, hi, John and FA family. Welcome, James. Looking forward to this one because I always enjoy watching your channel. Should be a good one. I'm working on a meetup in St. Louis so I can get to meet you. Do you know Mike Camparelli?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's his channel right there, Mike Mecco Meetups. And his channel focuses on reseller community meetups. So like the Boss Reseller Remix, Planes to Profit, I believe coming up here in the next week or so. We got the Nashville get together. Have you been to any of these seller meetups?
I had one. We went to one that Rural Squirrel Kristen did. A little one downtown here in St. Louis. So that was the only one that I've really been to. So,
well, looks like he is looking to set up a St. Louis area one. Would you be interested in being a part of that? I'm sure he's going to reach out to ask you.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I know Mike's very interested in meeting you there. So yeah, thanks for being here, Mike. Nice to see you. We have Derek W. Pat. Hi, everyone. Super cool to have James on tonight as a special guest. And
Special.
here's Jovial Juggler. This right here, reconciling differences or misunderstandings and doing a podcast together. This makes my heart happy. So Jovial's
Most of that was probably on me just because I was in a bad headpace. So I do apologize for anything. So
no, I kind of equate it to this. And I thought about this when it was going on, and it's like, okay, I like to bowl, right? I'm a pretty good bowler. And if I'm having a bad game, the last thing I want is someone with like a lower average coming up to me saying, hey, why don't you try this? You know, it's sort of like that, right? It's like, what do you, and I probably kind of overstepped a little bit by, offering any kind of advice, and it's unsolicited advice, that type of thing. So that's the whole of it, really. So
I don't even remember any of that. So like, I'll forget.
I think you're a great guy. I think you have a great message, and that's why I have you on, because I really think that you have a lot of good stuff to say to the average person that's reselling. Now, how do you handle all those items? How do you handle customer service? It's got to take a good chunk of your day out, right?
Well, I eliminate a lot of stupidity by not answering. So there's a lot of questions I don't even mess with. I don't answer every question. So if it's kind of pointless, like if I get it and they're asking the question and the answer's right there in the title, I don't even mess with it. I just move on. I don't, that problem, if they can't see that, then chances are it's going to be a problem sale anyway. So I don't even mess with it. So yeah, I'll answer questions in the morning and then at night before I shut down. And it don't take that long because, like I said, I get a lot more thank yous and, appreciative kind of messages as opposed to dumb questions or anything. So it doesn't take that long.
Yeah. I have this feeling, and it's just a feeling. There's no way I can ever prove it. But if you look at the way Mercari does it, they actually give you a badge for a quick responder.
Mm.
And I wonder if eBay considers that with account health and, ranking and things like that. Have you ever thought about that?
I never noticed it because
you answer every day.
Because I would, before people started throwing that around, I would have tens of thousands unread messages, however many that would hold on eBay, because they were just, now I go in about once a month and just mark them all unread just in case. But I never noticed it before when I would have thousands and thousands of not read. And being I answer them through an email, every one of them says unread on eBay. So how is that, if they did gauge that, how do they do it? If they're calling it unread, but yet I did respond to it, that you really don't get a fair shake if that's how they measure it. So I don't think so. I never noticed it. So I never got better sales because I went in and marked them all unread. So
I've noticed, though, even in the app, when you go in and respond, it'll still mark it as if you've never done anything with it. It'll still have that little dot next to it, like you never did anything. But Keith is saying that there's been a slow month. Is expecting eBay to slow down for us in UK as it's Easter time. It's normal, but you still get those that moan about how slow eBay is. It will step up. So let me ask you, do you subscribe to this idea of a summer slowdown, the phenomena?
I won't say summer slowdown, but usually June and July are my slowest months, but it's still good months. But as far as summer slowdown, I mean, it is in summer. It's my 2 slowest months. You can call it what you want, but I still, it's not like it's a stressful situation or, I'm not going to make money. So.
Paul concerned here says, evening, John, Jenna, James, and FA family. Must make sure James is wearing pants before you go live. You are fully clothed with us today, right?
I'm not answering that one.
Shorts.
How's the weather out there in St. Louis? Is it pretty humid?
No, it's actually almost a perfect day today. Feels nice. 78 degrees, kind of overcast.
That's
So.
pretty nice. That's really nice. We're in the 68-degree range with wind. So being that I'm not outside, I really don't even know. I mean, only when it affects me inside the house and the AC turns on do I really ever know these things.
The wind has been crazy this year. I've never seen so much wind in such a short time period. The wind has been nuts this year.
Silver Hair Stacker. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He has his channel too. He does some lives every week. James is nice hair, but he ain't as pretty as Jenna.
I'm trying.
Well, he's not as pretty as your wife.
You just gotta put the war paint on.
Right.
Garden Resale Thrifts, says James, and we have Flip It Good with us, and Amazon Seller 99. Perpuccio Sanchez, 1988, is alive and well. So I take it that you are a rocker, right?
Oh yeah, love my music.
You got the rocker vibes. Do you tend to watch YouTube videos while you're working, or do you just throw the music on? What's your what gets you going?
I just have my Spotify playing all day on random on my folders that I made, and then I have train videos going on to kind of take me out of the room visually and mentally. So that's it. If I put on something I would actually watch, I wouldn't get no work done. Like if I put on a movie or put on videos or something, I would never get any work done.
What about like a long eBay related live stream content? You don't do that either while you're working?
I don't, because I don't process anything when I'm working. It's just noise in the background. Like you could ask me what song played before I came on here. I couldn't tell you. It's just there. It might be subconsciously buried somewhere, but if I have somebody, if somebody's talking, it could distract me too much. So it's just music in the background. So for me.
So do you rate yourself as a heavy metal expert?
When it comes to hard rock and metal, yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so how do you rate my outro?
Oh, is it the same one that you?
It's the same one.
Yeah, I liked it.
You know, AI is amazing for somebody who doesn't know anything about. I don't know anything about heavy metal. I mean, I listened to the Quiet Riots back in the 80s and stuff. With the friends and stuff. But to go in and I did a little homework on what musical instruments are usually used in heavy metal, and I just plugged that in with some lyrics, and it came up with it. It's so amazing that it was able to do that.
Yeah, I made one. I made one about a year ago when it first came out, and I think I made a short of it. It might be lost somewhere on TikTok or something, but I don't
know. God Bearded PokeTuber. Now I'm sure you get a lot of this, where people say, "I'd rather leave the thrift store or tag sale empty-handed with arms full of junk that will never sell." What's your thought of that? Do you consider like sold comps when you're sourcing? I mean, considering that you have like a ton of stuff in storage, are you more selective when you're out and about, or are you just grabbing stuff? And
I'm just grabbing. I don't even look anything up. I just grab what I know and go. And yeah, I don't like leaving empty-handed, because when you kind of sell everything, I'm going to find something no matter what. So I will always leave with something.
Jan is so cool.
And then Keith says, James sells all the stuff people say will never sell, so prove everyone wrong. Yes, he proves everyone wrong. I agree with that statement. I mean, look, if you have dedication to what you're doing, there's more than one way to make money on eBay. So it's not necessarily the way I do it, not necessarily the way James does it. You could find something maybe in between that works for you. I really do think, though, that the consistency is probably the most important aspect of this whole thing. If James only did this twice a week, maybe ignored his account like two or 3 days at a time, I'm willing to bet that he wouldn't have as much activity as he does, despite the number of items that he has. I mean, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and I think the couple of the coolest things is like that sell that I still get a kick out of is just, when I go to the bins and just grab every hat, and I just have those solid color hats, unbranded, no name, solid color, and I've had a buyer buy 10 of them, come back buy 12 more because they're doing crafts with them,
Bling.
or the amount of hats that I'll put unknown logo on and they sell, or unknown M logo, unknown K logo, and they just sell. So I always get a kick when that stuff sells because it's the stuff that most people, that 99.9% of somebody, sellers are not going to grab, and it'll move.
So we have a question from Grams and Pops. I have a question. What size is that shirt, and is it for sale? Looks like you have someone looking to buy.
Nope, this is mine. This is the band that got me into hard rock and heavy metal back in '83. So before that, I was stuck listening to my parents' country music. So when I was like 13, 12, I started finding my own music, and this was the band that really got me on my path.
Sorry, Corey, you can't have it. It's not for sale. We got Bear with us he's coming from Japan. Good morning, bro. Let me ask you, have you thought about, have you traveled internationally, and have you thought about what type of stuff you would buy if you were like in another country?
I have not traveled internationally. The only place I want to go, people might say, oh, Paris and Venice, or no, Japan. I want to go to Japan because music, metal, hard rock, video games, my sweet spots get me to Japan, and I would come back broke.
Now, would the reseller side kick in when you buy stuff? I'm sure you'd be able to find a ton of stuff, right?
Oh my God.
I would have to do research and see how it works over there. I've never been over there, so I don't know. Do they have thrift stores over there? Can you find deals like you can in the U.S.? The U.S. is the market's abundant with junk that you can find for cheap. Is Japan that way? So I'd have to do a lot of research to see and try to talk to a lot of people who live there or know about it, and see if it's kind of set up the same way. If it's set up the same way, then I'm going to find some deals.
Then you'd have to get some Xanax to get on the plane.
Get some Xanax on the plane, yeah. I don't like planes. I hate planes.
So Biff Boffo has a question for us. Why did James rebrand his channel name? So it was first My Boring Reseller Life, then it went to The Great Reseller Life, and then it's just your name. So what happened with that?
Well, let's see. I started out very beginning my name. Then I went to Urban Picker. Then I went to Kick Crazy, I think, one of the shoe, when I was doing shoe videos. Then I went to Soul Cave. And then when I came back made it reselling, I think I came back with Urban Picker again. But then I changed it to My Boring Reseller Life, because I was going through a phase there where I was here with my dad, taking care of my dad. So my mind wasn't in the best headspace. I don't know if anybody's ever cared for a parent 24/7. But it takes time. Seeing a parent, disintegrate, plus the stress level of taking care of somebody consistently, my head wasn't in. So My Boring Reseller Life, I wasn't enjoying what I was doing anymore. I was just going through the motions. So that name kind of said that. And then after I finally got over my dad's death and stuff, I'm like, started enjoying again. I'm like, what? I'm getting rid of that name. It's The Great Reseller Life. So I just built off of that name. And then here lately, I've just been trying to experiment and just put up different videos too. And then I started putting up puppy videos and things like that of the dogs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my name, because I'm just going to make it, it's everything that involves me, but reselling is my life. It is life. I don't know any life without reselling. So it's still going to be fully reselling, 99% reselling videos. But I felt putting my name there, I could just put up whatever videos and go in whatever direction I wanted to and wouldn't get no backlash on. So
there's probably hundreds of people out there right now who are somewhat similar to you, and your setup, the way you go about it. You do eBay and reselling like 7 days a week. Why did you decide to start making videos about it? What made you decide to and I don't think you started off as an eBay channel, but what made you decide to start documenting what you do every day?
The biggest reason, because I was thinking of kids who were in my situation when I was young, and now they got phones in their hands. And instead of, them following the people, in their area with drugs or stealing, maybe some kid somewhere will stumble across this video and they'll see that there are other ways of doing it. There's other ways to make it out of the city. So when I was kind of really got into it, that's why I try to push a lot when I talk about my past, where I came from, just in hopes that it would grab somebody who may be questioning, what the hell am I going to do in life, type of thing. And, if it can help one person get out, then I'm happy with that. So that was the main reason. I just pictured a kid trying to pictured myself also, and how I felt, just a kid trying to get out of a situation you don't want to be there.
So here's a question from John Worldwide Weber. James, when you first started, did you expect to be doing it forever, or did it take some time to settle into it, see if it'll be your life's work? So at what point did you decide you were all in?
Well, the first 30 years of my life, I was trying to figure it out. Of course, we can't say the first 30 years because we were kids, but I would say from the age of 18 to 30, I was trying to figure it out. What am I going to do to get out of this city life? All I've had was retail jobs. I didn't know what college was. Where I grew up and before the internet, I didn't even know what a pharmacist was. And Jan's a pharmacist. Because I never went to a drugstore. So there was a whole lot of professions I knew nothing about. So for those, we'll just call them the 20s, I was just searching. I would try different things. I'd work 3 different jobs. I bought a tattoo kit one time and did some tattoos for people for about a year. So I was always trying to find the way out. And then I was working in the music store at the time, and a friend a co-manager at the time, he lived in the wealthy area that the store was in. So he had internet, he had a computer, and this is like 98, 99. And he ended up coming to me one day and he goes, "Hey, the Star Wars Laserdisc box set, I bought one and sold it on eBay. If you buy one, I'll sell it for you on eBay." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So this is when Laserdiscs were going out of style. So it was like clearance for like $10 or whatever. So I bought the Laserdisc, gave it to him and said, "Hey, take whatever you need for the fees." And this is before I even knew what eBay was. He kind of had to tell me what it was. And then, so I didn't think nothing of it. He came back a couple weeks later. He handed me more money than my paycheck is, my 2-week paycheck. And I'm like, that's when a light bulb went off. I'm like, wait a minute. Because I bought that, I made more than my paycheck. And then like I said, I spent time in thrift stores and retail arbitrage finding cheap clearance stuff for my personal collections. So I'm like, all the bells started aligning. And I swear that moment was the first time in my life where I felt like, I know what the hell I'm doing now. I've got a direction. I know what I'm doing. I got somewhere to go. I'm not wandering. I'm not lost. I got a place to go. So when I knew I was going to go all in, I knew it was going to be forever. So I would go to the library, get on a computer there, scroll through eBay, see what kind of stuff. I would type in all the stuff that I have. What is it selling for? Notice all the stuff selling well that I collect. So I started reading about eBay and learning how to do it before I even had a computer, as I was trying to save up for a computer. And then when I met Jan, she had a computer and she bought the first one that I actually started working with the business. So when I started, I knew it was all in and it was going to be all the way. I said the other day, I'm like, if something happened today to my eBay account, I don't know what the hell I would do. I'm sure I could figure it out now because I know what else is out in the world compared to the 17-year-old me, but I would be lost because I love doing it so much. So,
well, on that front, if something was to happen with your account, do you cross list or maybe even the idea of maybe a Shopify?
I had a Shopify store, but I never put anything in it because I know that, it takes money to drive the customers there. I was doing Posh, but the more stuff I put up in Posh, the lower my sales got. So I got down to like $6 a day in my pocket on Posh with like 14,000 items up there. I'm like, well, I guess my stuff's just not working for Posh. So I just closed that store. and just went straight back to eBay. If something happened to eBay today, then I would switch. I mean, I got so much stuff, I'd have to switch to something like Whatnot and just start moving it one by one and just get it gone until I can figure out, see if I can turn that into something. So, I mean, I got the stuff to do it if I need to. So, yeah, going live somewhere is going to be my backup if anything ever happened to eBay. So,
well, speaking of Whatnot, I will be doing a Whatnot live. Let me show you guys here. We have a show tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific. That would be 10 Eastern. And, just you guys want to come and support the show a little later tonight. Probably, what is it? About 2 hours or so after we're done here at the live. Come on down and check it out, because this is like my third show. I've got some stuff that I think would do pretty well on Whatnot. And I'm guaranteeing this, you have a ton of stuff there. Someone like you would really do really well, I think, doing Whatnot. It's just a learning curve. I think it's the whole idea of the unknown and not knowing how to do something. I think that's kind of unsettling. I mean, what's keeping you from doing something like that?
The hardest part for me is seeing what the items sell for, because I'm in the long game. I'm in the volume game. So when I see something that I know could sell for $20 and it sells for $2 or $3, I'm like, why ain't I shopping here? I don't need to shop. That's why. But if I was doing anything on Whatnot, I'd be cracking up that credit card on Whatnot, because the stuff goes for like 10 to 20% of what it could sell for. So that's the biggest thing. I couldn't get over selling a $40 game controller for $5. It makes me cringe.
It's not an option.
We have Spam Banshee with us. It says, James, do you use eBay stock photos for CDs, DVDs, or media?
Not anymore. Over the years, I used to, but over the years, like once a year, eBay will come in and things will just vanish. So if you even look in my store now, you'll see a bunch of media that has no pictures because they just vanished off eBay. So I take pictures of everything now because of that. And even a lot of the stuff that used to be in eBay's catalog, when you scanned it, don't even come up at all now. So there's a lot going on at eBay, on that side of eBay, that stuff just vanishes. I think not too long ago, she may remember this since they got media, that a lot of the item specifics would vanish. You would try to like end and relist or something, and it would say, title's not there, conditions not there. It would just eliminate it all. So I stay away from all that now. I just take all the pictures of everything.
So when you're creating a listing, you go in and essentially, do you still do it where you just create a template? So I've got a stack of CDs, and I'm just going to go in and put the common specifics and information in the listing, and then tell it I want to make 100 copies of this, and then just work off of that. Is that kind of how you do it?
Yep, that's it. I got about 50 different draft templates for CDs, cassettes, adjustable hats, flatback or snapback hats, fitted hats, T-shirts, pants, visors. So I have a template for all that stuff, the stuff that I have the most of. And then I just have a blank one that I use if I need to go in and go into a different category that I don't have hundreds of. So, yeah.
John loves your puppet videos. It really shows your creativity. Do you have a puppet available?
That's Dolly.
Give us a quick puppet show.
Hey, what's going on here? I'm the star of this business. What are you doing? You should have had me on. Get this long-haired freak out of here. We don't need him. Let me tell you how it's done.
Oh, that's amazing. Did you do shows with the puppets at one time?
I do little shorts or little short videos. She would show up sometimes on my morning videos, but I haven't had her on a video in a while. So,
Time to Sell Collectible says, I would like to know how James handles time away.
What's that?
What's that? Yeah.
What's that?
There is no
like you travel like to the Smoky Mountains or whatever one time.
Smoky Mountains, because of Pee-wee and his seizures, we haven't been since November of 2023. But yeah, like I said, I'll turn off the sales, turn off the promoted, And then my boy
But it takes,
Adrian will ship for me when the stuff does sell.
it takes
So
3 days to get there because we stop everywhere.
yeah, it takes 3 days to get there because we stop at all the thrift stores and stuff along the way.
Part of traveling, though. I couldn't imagine doing a road trip without stopping all the time.
Right. That's if I was going to change anything up right now, I would, it would include traveling and consistently finding thrift stores and flea markets. And
I think it'd be a great life to have an RV traveling from city to city and doing like whatnot shows from your RV and then mailing it out like on the road. I think that would be a great way.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Major Wen says we had a 20% off coupon going and sold a reasonable amount. We let the coupon die. Now we're selling much more, trying to figure out if it's coincidental timing or if the buyers just want the value. So do you use coupons, and do you notice a difference between using the coupons and when you don't? I
do. I always have noticed before it was 30% off, always seemed like my sweet spot. So I would start pricing when I put my items in the store. I'd price them a little bit over, knowing that they're going to go on sale. So I'm doing all 20% now because I'm trying to squeeze out a little bit more money from eBay since they're trying to squeeze out more money from us. So I dropped my 30. I dropped my 30 down to 20. And then I also dropped some of my percentage promoted on my low dollar stuff. Because I run about 50%. So 50-50. eBay gets 50, I get 50. So I'm trying to get that number down. So since I put my low dollar stuff down from 13% promoted down to 7%, I've got it down to 45%. So I got an extra 5% in my pocket. But yeah, I try to use all the eBay features because I think they're going to work. You can't, I don't know if it'd be algorithm or just not just algorithm, but when people look and see something on sale, it triggers something in some people's heads. Oh, this is on sale. Like people who will shop on QVC.
Yeah.
Who just because they say you could do, it's 50% off or whatever, they go, ooh, let's get that. So I try to take advantage of everything, every aspect of what eBay offers to use for the psyche of the buyer, if you will. So.
But you can resell the free one I get.
Yeah.
Well, Jet Fixer is what this is. My question for James is, how is Mr. Pee Wee doing and Miss Courtney?
Just woke up.
They are good. Pee Wee's right here.
He just woke up.
He just laid beside me. He's 7 weeks seizure free right now. The record is 9 weeks seizure free. But since the last one, we got him on an extra med. He takes 31 pills a day for his seizures. So hopefully we'll be able to get over 9 weeks this time. But he does have epilepsy. And all we know is that it'll shorten his life. So we don't know how long he has. So we're just enjoying every minute. And Courtney, she's 14 years old and still going strong, still spunky and playful. And I've been putting my dog videos more on TikTok right now than YouTube. I was trying to grow that. But I guess TikTok's probably going to be going away here soon. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see about that one. We got Derek W. Pat says, I used to end and relist my ending 30-day items after hearing James on one of his videos say that it's best to wait to relist that item after 2 to 3 months. That way it gets time to index. So I know end and relist every 3 months. Is that kind of your advice on that?
Yeah. And I think relist is the same as sell similar now, but I still use sell similar. The difference before was it would give it a new number on sell similar where relist wouldn't, but I think they both do now. So I think both of them will work, but I still go to sell similar. But yeah, before eBay started taking things off of Google and making us pay for them, it would take 30 days, roughly 30 days for that item to actually show up on Google. So I still follow that mindset instead of doing it every 30 days to do it. I wait 3+ months. Some of the stuff I wait 6 months and then I'll go ahead and do it just because I got so much. So
Spam wants to know, James, do you drink coffee, sugar, Mountain Dew? How do you do it all? So many videos and so many listings in a day.
The only thing I get a frozen Coke almost every day, and that gets me going. And that's and then maybe a can of Diet Pepsi, and that's about it. And maybe a cupcake in the morning.
And now Garden Resell Thrifts says that they were at Boss recently, the Boss Reseller Remix, I believe. And they said that service metrics does not matter. I have a hard time believing that statement, though. because your service metrics tie directly into your account health and your whether you're top rated or above standard. What are your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, that's why if I'm trying to sit there and think what they mean by the service metrics. So let me go in here and click. But yeah, the account health I think matters. Now, when I click on service metrics, you have the average, high, very high. I've never been very high on these, so I don't know. I'm usually lower than the peers, so I don't know, if going off the rails. But yeah, I agree with you that when you're not, if you're not keeping your numbers, your list, your items shipped on time and stuff like that. I mean, I think I always thought it would do more than just take away your 10%, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Well, we had Bert on from the UK. He was a former employee of eBay, and he's a firm believer that your conversion rates, those are very important. Your store conversion rates, it does have a big influence on where you're placed in search and all that. Here's one from JetFixer. My glitch happens every day when I log in the morning. My entire home page is in German. Have to go to the active page for my account to be in English. I have noticed, and this is a couple weeks ago, I'm working, and then it'll pop up on the PC on the bottom. It'll say, "Do you want us to call you?" You ever have that?
Nuh-uh, never had that.
It'll pop up a little thing where the question mark is, and it says, "We can contact you." But the last couple of weeks, it's been popping up in Chinese. So, like, what's going on here? Is what's eBay trying to tell me?
Maybe about once a week, I'll notice things will pop up in another, like in the EU or whatever. Yeah, so I've seen the crossover that everybody's talking about, but I've never seen that pop up like that though.
What about any issues with auto pay? I'm sure you have yours set to probably weekly, right? That'd be a mess to do it daily. But Jovial says, didn't get the usual Tuesday payout on April 15th. Called eBay, gave me the runaround, even said I didn't have any funds, but could do an instant pay. So have you had any issues with the payments?
No, I have auto pay daily come out. So
you have it daily?
Okay. Yeah, it goes out daily, and they just recently taken away the weekends. They used to send it on the weekends too, so they took that away, and they want you to pay for it if you want it on the weekend now. So other than the weekends now, but yeah, I have no problems with, after I gave them all the proper tax information and stuff, I've never had a problem. So
in response to my statement about being geolocated when I leave the area, our buddy Dave Harrington says, John, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't after you. Maybe I am, but it just happens way too often to me personally. So maybe it's just bad luck on my part. Tell me, what is the craziest eBay story that you can think of that someone would get a chuckle out of?
Craziest.
Your craziest one. Maybe this year, maybe since you've been reselling.
I just don't like the fake shoes that come back.
What do you consider crazy? I've had crazy, to me, would be a positive thing where I've had, local people contact me through there, and I end up filling, 2 trucks full of merchandise. To me, that's crazy.
When we're out and about, and the kids see you.
We're talking about eBay. Craziest on eBay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like
YouTube. But
customer or maybe an interaction that's like, I can't believe this is happening.
There's so many, I guess, but I don't hang on to them. Once, if it's a negative situation or a crazy one, like 2 minutes later, I'm over it. So I'd have to really sit down and think about it to bring one up, and I'm trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, just probably the same stuff everybody deals with, where you have the buyers who just will threaten you, or
the highest price CD that sold.
Well, the highest CD. Well, that's not a negative thing, but
not negative, but it was crazy.
Yeah, I can't really think of any. But
a lot of people, they tend to hang on to their I got scammed, or and I can't do this anymore because one bad buyer scammed me, or I'm afraid to do this because I could get scammed. Anybody scam you or anything like that?
Oh yeah, people try all the time. Here's what I do to help alleviate that, and my thinking behind scamming. The way I look at it is, if I had a retail store, brick and mortar, you're going to have thieves. So there's shrink in every business. So if you can't set yourself up to accept some shrink online, then you're doing business wrong in the first place. Think like it's shrink. Every business has it. But what I try to do is alleviate any scam by going, telling them a little bit more than maybe is truthful. Like if somebody says, well, like 2 weeks ago, somebody said, I got this package and it was empty. And of course, it wasn't empty. So I go, that's weird. I put it in on video on my YouTube channel where I've got 20,000 viewers. So I have 20,000 people seeing me put it in the package. That's weird. Well, go ahead and open a return and send it back, and I'll set you up. I'll send you a refund. Of course, he vanishes. So a lot of the scammers online are not even amateur; they're below amateur. So if you can give them a little bit of a scare tactic, they'll just go away. So if you could say something like, well, I record all my shipping, so it's on video. So I can send you that video if you like, whatever, and then they'll just kind of go away. So I always try to alleviate the problem and the scam before it even starts. So when it does happen, I can't remember the last one that actually happened, that somebody would send me back something that wasn't, because I try to nip it in the bud before it even gets that far.
Yeah, I noticed that even some of the amateur scammers, or the below amateur scammers, they do it over and over again because it works. Not with every seller, but the first message somebody gets, a seller will get from one of these scammers, they get into like panic mode and they're willing to give half the money back just to get them to go away. Yeah.
Actually, I had 2 of them say the package was empty in the past month. One of them was in Canada. It was an action figure. Said he got the box and it was empty. And I go, well, if you look at the weight on the box, it's the proper weight. Plus, I did it all on video. So and then they opened a return but never sent it. So yeah.
There was something weird you want to eat back to.
Keith's question: am I right that you just turn the camera on to record and upload videos? You don't really edit your videos; you just record and run them for about 30-40 minutes and then upload.
Yeah. Or my shipping videos sometimes will be an hour and 10 minutes in the mornings. But yeah, I don't have time to edit. If anything, I will click little pieces and just splice them together with the app on the phone. So all I have to do is hit them and hit done, and it's done. So yeah, no editing, no special things. I know I could probably create something that would make YouTube go off crazy, but eBay's my money right now, and I don't have time to mess around with trying to perfect a YouTube video. I am trying to put something together right now. Like, I don't even take notes. I just talk off the top of my head. I'm not good at trying to do anything. The only video I took notes and followed on was that 200 video, how to list 200 items in a day or whatever. So I'm trying to put together a little series right now. So I'm taking notes. I'm going to do that, but it's not going to be edited. It's just going to be spliced together. And it's going to be just going into things that I think are important when starting a business, period, and or reselling business, that most people don't talk about and that could benefit you. Most of it would be like from a mental aspect or a motivational aspect, but then also get into all the details and nooks and crannies, and then just make a specific video for each one. Because I feel like a lot of people will make one video, put them all in there, and if you're watching it, you may think one thing's not as important as another, and so you don't really pay attention to one step. But I think everything is important, so I'm going to try to do a little video series where I break every single thing down into one video, just one video about this one topic, to make sure that maybe somebody can get something from it to improve their situation.
Yeah, when you're dealing with like editing and writing scripts and stuff for your videos, it almost kind of turns into work.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're working, whether you just just turn the camera on and you're just freestyling it, it's like, wow, that was easy when you're done, right? You don't have to worry about it.
And thankfully, I'm pretty good with just talking off the top of my head. So
yeah, then you go back and I could have talked about that, but you know, you didn't write a script. You just was going off the top of your head. I get that all the time. So I run into like, well, maybe I should do more of that, or maybe I should do more scripted stuff. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I've been doing this. This is our 6th year doing it, so I still don't have a good feel for it. What is some advice you can give a new reseller who is just maybe getting started and they see your channel and they, you know, I would think that you wouldn't tell them to go out and emulate what you're doing, but what advice would you give someone who's just starting, who wants to do this full time, you know, forever?
My first thing would be ask them, why are they doing it? Find the reasoning why you're doing it and use that as your sole motivation. Is it to better your life, better your kid's life, to get you out of a certain situation? What is it? Build it off of there, because if you can find something like that to go back to, it's just going to push you through any of the hard times or the burnouts or the whatever you're dealing with. If you think somebody's scamming you, blah, 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 but you get upset about it, whatever, just always go back to basic, always go back to that ground floor and go, I'm doing this because, and then you can work through everything else. And there's plenty of content to learn how to do anything and everything. So
focus on your why.
Yeah, I would.
Mark in Alaska is, what's the best way to ship items if not sold on eBay? Is there a good website to print shipping labels? I would say Pirate Ship, but do you do anything differently?
I just use
eBay labels.
Yeah, I use Pirate Ship for international, and I do eBay for everything else. So.
And Ashley's saying there's do you sell on Bonanza, because there's a fee increase on May 1st apparently?
No, I turned Bonanza off. I did for like 20 years, but I turned them off a couple of years ago when they started implementing that if you don't use their shipping, you got to pay them $2. And I didn't feel like using a third shipping thing because that's just going to slow me down. It's not like I had crazy sales on there anyway, so I shut it down and sent them the reason why and moved on. I do have all my stuff still on TrueGatherer, but that thing's kind of just disappeared lately too. So I'll probably end up ending all that.
I didn't even realize Bonanza's been around that long.
Yeah, it's been around for quite a while.
Wow. Here's one. Week 55 says, do you any of you pay your eBay fees with a cashback credit card? So which do you think is best for that? I would say probably the Apple card is probably the best for that. What do you do?
I actually don't do that right now. I always did before. I used Discover in the past. Discover was always good.
Capital was 2%. That's why we
Capital was 2%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done it in the past. I just haven't done it since I switched over to eBay, because I used to do everything through stamps.com. So then I had it all on the card. But I don't like having a card anymore, even if it's going to give me an extra couple $100. I just don't want to build up debt when I don't have to now. So I try to do everything,
And then you got to stay on top of it. You go and spend something here and go spend something there. You got to be on top of it. Otherwise, that'll just build up and accumulate. And now you're like, well, I guess I'll pay some of it off when you should be paying it all off.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and I used to do it for many years, so it works. But it's just something I don't do anymore. So.
Spam has another question. Got a feedback today from a buyer who asked to cancel an order. Thankfully, they were honest and gave a positive, but why does eBay harass people to leave feedback, especially on buyer cancellations? Is that something that you think about?
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten negative on cancellations before, but the eBay just takes it right off. So as far as positive, I don't know. I don't pay attention if people do. I don't read the positives. I just read the negatives and just kind of try to respond professionally to the negatives, in the sense of, I'm sorry for the issue. I'm going to reach out to this buyer, blah, blah, blah. I'll say it all in a positive way. And just in case anybody comes in there and it can deter, just in case it would deter anybody, hopefully my response will ease them up a little bit. So
Paul says, James, you're amazing, pal. How do you get so much done in a day? The work you've put in over the years is a credit to you, and you should be very proud.
The that's the main reason is because I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy every step. And most people just enjoy the thrifting. I enjoy the shipping. I enjoy the taking the pictures. I enjoy every aspect of it. I enjoy the YouTube part of it because I don't have to sit down and edit it. It's not work for me. So I just enjoy every step of it. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then it is work. And when you're working, it's just hard to get motivated. So
I agree. Well, wow. We had a really good discussion. I'm out of questions, and it looks like the chat, we've caught up with the chat too, which is really not something I do. It usually takes me a good solid 2 hours. And I did skip some, like I said, some hello here and there comments, but I think it was a really good conversation, really smooth conversation. Want to thank you and Jan for being here with us, even though she was kind of off camera. We know we still listen to what she had to say. And it was nice having you both. Is there anything you'd like to tell the audience where they can find you or anything else?
No, you can follow me on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. I'm very active all day, every day on Facebook and YouTube. So,
well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. We had a lot of people watching, and thank you, James and Jan, for being here. James Helferstay on YouTube. Go check him out. Go subscribe to his channel. He puts out daily content multiple times a day, and it's always reselling focused. So go give him some support. Also, don't forget, go check out my Whatnot tonight. I'm going to need your support. Even if you just want to go and hang out, I don't care if you buy anything. Really, I'm just trying to move stuff before Jenna gets home. I don't want her. I'd rather sell it at the minimum and not have to hear her get mad at me for having a tub of stuff in her living room than to, sell it for as low as possible. So come on over and check it out tonight. Also, go check out Bearded Picker's channel here in the next, I'd say half an hour at the top of the hour. He's going to be getting ready for his Whatnot as well tonight. So a lot going on tonight. And again, thank you for being here. And guys, trying to be like James, well, it's probably not going to happen, but you can learn a lot from him. But yet, that's another example of how sometimes in this business, flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and we will talk to you guys on Monday. Jenna will be back, and we will talk to you guys then. So have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Returns and lowball offers too. Zero takedowns, they're a pain. What can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that is within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. to the party.